Solstice Fast, day 18. So I've got some smoothies that I've been making today with banana, cherry, and cloudy apple juice. It's a nice way to get some fiber back into the system to help push out all of the last remaining pieces of whatever else is in my system and give my stomach a chance to start holding things and digesting them a little bit more before I go back to start eating fruits. I got a big thing of oranges, a giant box of oranges today. I managed to find some at the market. It wasn't open yesterday. So I've got those to juice tomorrow, planning to go through them. They're not in the best condition. I got the whole box for a tenner. And a lot of the oranges are black, as orange is the new black, or black is the new orange in this case. The rest of the oranges, some of them are so soft you can put your finger right through the skin. It's like moments away from being food for the mold. But I still like it when they're in this condition because it's closer to real than a lot of the stuff that you find on the shelves in at supermarkets. A lot of it is waxed and coated with different bits and pieces, things that are insect secretions, E2O2, imazolor, the works. It's not a pretty world in the world of consumerism. They like to make things as fake as possible. I imagine you will notice this if you've read ingredients lists on the back of most of the packaged food that you can buy. They package things and they add things that don't need to be there. I don't think that this is by accident. This is a definite thing that's on purpose. It's the thing they call it the Luciferian agenda, that kind of thing. They package you something fake and convince you it's real. They urinate on your leg and tell you it's raining. That kind of gaslighting. They'll give you fake fruit on the shelves. They had that appeal technology that they were using in places like Tesco and Asda, which meant that I couldn't buy fruit from there anymore because there was no telling what this gas stuff would actually do to the fruit. And pretty much it could be eaten straight cancer. It's not a pretty world in the world of what's fake. And that's what they try and sell you the most. You'll notice that celebrities tend to sell you the fakest of products. And the celebrities themselves are a lot of the time the fakest of products. They're often not even using their real names. They tend to go by a stage name, which I believe is done because then when you sign a contract, you can sign it under your stage name, and that means that the company that owns the rights to your work only owns the rights to your stage name and not your real name. So you do have some kind of presence outside of that. You see this kind of thing in unfortunate celebrities like John Cena, who ends up having to do quite a few things that look as if they're humiliation rituals. They look like they weren't his choice, but part of the contract. And afraid that's your name. It is owned. That's at least how things are perceived to be. Not got no hate on for Mr. Cena. It's just an example that I could point at since he was made to apologize to the Chinese government in fluent Mandarin, I think, as well as getting naked for some award show, um, wear all kinds of dresses in films that he's in. It's just a lot of the time you can see people when they're being made to do something they don't want to do, but they don't really have a choice in the matter anymore. There's people that are quite famous for doing the opposite. Dave Chappelle actually walked away from a millions and millions of pounds deal after the Chappelle show was a success because he didn't want to wear a dress in a film that he was making. He wasn't happy with the way that they were trying to portray his character, and everything's all about that drag effect. And I'm not even hating on drag people. I actually think that the art form is brilliant. I used to watch people doing cabaret shows where they'd be dressed in drag doing comedy. And it was very tongue in cheek. It was very beautifully made as an art form. And they've kind of pushed it out there now as it's a very fake. Um, it's a very fake element that they've added to this because instead of showing the people that have the talent at it, like the Lily Savages of the world, they have people just parading around now in a sense that's just mocking more than it is producing art. And even that I don't find offensive. That's comical at the best of times. Until you realize how much it's being pushed as an agenda, the fact that it appears everywhere. It's like, surely people can't find this is the only thing that would be considered funny. It must be an inside joke for them because they're making other people do it against their will. And there are a lot of sadists out there. And I think a lot of them are the ones that get into these positions of power, like directing. They start directing people, making them do things that they don't want to do to exert their power. I reckon there's always people like that in the world. The Stanford prison experiment and other things have put on display that if you were to offer up positions of authority, approximately 1/3 of the population would happily jump at the chance to be considered above the people around them and to be able to boss them around. So it's like that's what gives them their security, that they've made it to a higher position than their starting position. I noticed that there's people like that in workplaces. You'll always recognize the types. They're the ones that might come as an age thing. They get to a point where they're worried about their image because of their age. They need to be seen to be the directors now. Otherwise, God forbid, someone might see them as just the same as the rest of us. But it's interesting because these are usually the people that are given the orders and they'll do without question. They're not interested in questioning. They're interested in taking those orders and directing someone else. The people that give the orders, they're the ones with the agenda. The agenda that was being pushed with the seeing drag in just about every comedy film that came out in a certain era, and things that were pushed into shows like the gayness, the being rebellious in all of these specific ways. And this again, not hating on people that have made decisions to pursue a life of being gay, this and that, not a problem. I've been many places, seen many people, been involved in many things. I used to dress up as a girl at every available opportunity when I was going out to fancy dress places because I found it hilarious. I'd have a full on beard, be dressed in full drag, and then it would be hilarity at the bar when someone is a little bit drunk, ask if they can buy you a drink, and you just smile at them with your big beard. Like, the comedy element was what it used to be about because that's what we were influenced by. That was in all of the films at one point. That was just about every funny guy that we saw on TV. Then you get people like Dave Chappelle that wouldn't play the game because they recognize that there's this agenda. The agenda that's being pushed is something that's quite difficult to get your head around because you have to wonder why. What could one possibly gain from this? And it's only in recent years where you start to see things like what happened in the Olympics. You've got men beating up women, sexual predators getting into women's spaces under the guise of a very accepting culture that's kind of too afraid to say anything that goes against the grain. And it's, oh, why shouldn't we just accept everything? Because, we've grown up around all this. It's in every bit of media that we see. Every TV show now has a character in it that's trans or gay or LGBTQ based. Like, it becomes the norm. And I'm not saying that these lifestyles are wrong. I came from a very alternative lifestyle. I know many people that were from these alternative lifestyles. These people are not bad people. They're people that some of them follow trends, some of them actively try not to. The ones that found their way to these places through rebellion actually got upset with the amount of people that were turning up as part of a trend because it felt like they weren't genuine. One that was more doing it for image than doing it because it's what they truly want inside of their heart. And I think it's dangerous when you get lots of people doing these things to fit in, especially with the trans community. A lot of people that have to go one step more extreme to be getting the attention, and it's the validation that they're looking for, not the operation. Like a lot of the parents that are getting their kids to transition, I think you can see that the kids are just after the parents' affection, and you've got these parents that are not really paying that much attention to the child unless the child is doing what they consider is trendy amongst their liberal type friends that believe that this is the way forward. It's all about inner expression, and that, which I do agree that inner expression is good. It's a good thing to be doing. Like, you should have your own time to express yourself and not be afraid to be able to do these things. But when it gets to the point where you're doing dangerous operations and taking irreversible effect chemicals and hormones, that's why you've got such a large amount of people on the detransitioning side of things. And that, it's not something that I'm going to go too deeply into, but it's something my mum likes to refer to as the vegan cat syndrome. It's like you see a trans child and often can tell it's not the child's choice. Same with the vegan cat. It's not like cats would choose to be vegan by choice. The children are just looking for the attention and the affection from the parents. And a lot of parents are trying to live that life for the image because everyone around them will give them the affirmations that they desire. And it's very dangerous when the world is run like this. Everyone's after something fake, and they don't even realize it. It's pushing out there what is fake and being forced to accept it. It seems to be a common theme. It's, you don't want this, we're going to push it on you, tell you it is that way, and you have to accept it. Like, you're going to be an outcast if you don't believe that this person is a certain way because of this certificate given by the government. Even though you do a DNA test, the reality will tell you a different story than that piece of paper. And again, this is not anti-trans. There's a lot of people that I knew before it became a trend that had spent most of their lives feeling like they wanted to be different. There's people that I know that have done extreme body modifications to their heads, faces. It's everyone's choice what they do with their own body. Where it becomes an issue is when it affects children that don't really have much of a choice. They have a lot of influences coming from a lot of places. There's a lot of people that say that due to the negative attention that they were getting from the guys in the culture, that they wanted to remove their breasts because it was attracting the wrong kind of attention. They would be happy just not getting that attention. Someone awards you the possibility to do it and to get a double mastectomy or to take some kind of pills that would stop you from getting to that stage in the first place. It might seem appealing, but for the wrong reasons. People were supposed to be given psych evaluations before this kind of thing was put forward. But it seems that a lot of this was bypassed, whether in the name of money or part of this agenda, try and make everything flipped upside down so that real is fake and fake is real. And it's not an easy subject to cover, to be fair. So I wouldn't try pushing it too hard. But after all of my happy vibes that I've had recently on the fasting, bringing me up to a certain level where everything is possible, we're all one, there's still things that I see that are down on the base level that I think kind of need attention. Because it's almost as if things have been forgotten about, and the agendas will keep pushing. You've got things like the MAP agenda, the minor attracted persons. Back in my day, this used to be known as a paedophile, but they're trying to not say that word because it might cause offense. You have to accept these people. They watch videos of child abuse, they have fantasies of child abuse, and you must accept them into society because it's not their fault who they find attractive. And I disagree with this. I think it's a certain thing that comes from what's put out on the TV screens. It's something that people are influenced into being. I don't think that that's a natural way of feeling. A natural way of feeling when you see children or animals or people that are in states, vulnerable states, the natural way to feel about them is to want to protect them or want to get them back to someone who can, not inflict any kind of harm or sadistic this or that. And it's pretty much the same theme that we have going with making everything fake. seem real, forcing people to accept things even though they feel that it's not right. It's being sold to people. And they've got, in every industry, the music industry, it pushes things that are not even music. Like mumble rap came out a few years back, which wasn't even really rapping. Rapping is about having skills to be able to mix syllables that rhyme and have a message that has running themes or punchlines in it that makes it entertaining and gripping and exciting. And then there was this period where all they had was music behind a load of mumbling and nonsense, gibberish, and people were buying it, and it was making a lot of money. So people in the industries weren't allowed to criticize it until the public opinion got so fed up with it that big stars like Snoop Dogg and Eminem started making songs about it. Joyner Lucas quite commonly cover people's songs and show the difference between lyrical skill and mumbly rubbish. Not that I'm promoting any of these artists. They are what they are. They're part of the industry. It's part of the show. If you like them, you like them. I'm not judging. It's just, this is what it is. There's a rap competition that was on Netflix, Rhythm and Flow, 5 years ago, that was very successful. There was a guy in it that made a very successful song that he used in the final. There was another guy who had another very successful song. The pair of them had a lot of replay value. I think both of them have gone on to do very well. And they had a season 2 of the show come out this year. In the season 2, it's almost like a complete turnover for the judges. The judges in this one weren't able to be critical without being positive. So it was that whole vibe of being accepting of everyone. So you're not allowed to be dismissive, be like the first one where they just tell people straight, what you're doing is ridiculous. You shouldn't be here. This one, there was people getting into the final rounds who weren't able to rap on a beat, like on time with the beat, which is a very basic skill that you have in rap. And it almost felt like a social experiment, see whether or not we can sell this idea. If we can sell this person without them having even the basics, and remove anyone that shows the kind of originality that people are after. And that happened a couple of times. There was a person there that had some replay value in a song. She was actually voted out that episode, that she did the video with the replay value in this collaboration she did. Her name was Jazz with an X, so JAXS. She's probably the only one in it that I saw that would be even worth watching. The whole show, not worth watching. Literally not worth watching. You could watch clips of it to see what it's like, or watch it for an educational thing, because it's a good demonstration of how gaslighting the industry is now. And it does feel like the whole industry is trying to keep the appearance that the people making money have no talent, and all they do is talk about guns, hoes, money, sex with many different people, and pushing those kind of values. Whereas at the same time, the whole show has tried to push this air of being super accepting of everything. Like, the guests that came on the show were pretty much nothing but positive feedback for everyone, even the people that did rubbish. And in one sense, it's, yeah, like a bit, you're watching something quite friendly. It feels all family friendly, like, but you lose what's real when you do that. You lose sense of reality when you're trying to be too nice. And I think there's that level of balance that's needed in life. When you make everything fake in order to not offend people, it's when you get some serious problems come in. And the lesson, I think, is to realize what you are and what you aren't accepting. Like, a lot of people don't realize what's in their food. It's the same kind of thing in the food industry. With music, it's even worse because you can't really control what you hear. You're at work, something comes on the radio, you're walking through a shopping center, something's playing. It's not like you can control that. That's going into your system, it's going in through your ears, and it's having an effect on your brain. Then you have food, which is fake because they've got additives in it. The crops in the first place, from the ingredients that are used or sprayed with things that guys have to wear hazmat suits when they're spraying it. So it's clearly not good for you. The things that are put into the animals for the animal products, that bovia stuff that they're trying to put into the cows to stop them farting, because that's going to save the world, isn't it? It's all them farting cows that's what got us into this mess. So that's just about pushing something that's fake. The fake idea that there's the problem of farting cows and the solution for it, remove the cow's farts. And there's no telling what this kind of chemical will do for the cows, if there's any kind of repercussions that would come from people that are eating the meat or drinking the milk. And it becomes a very difficult world to navigate if you've got to look at not knowing what is and isn't tainted with this fake stuff. And I think that recognizing what is and isn't fake is very important, because otherwise so many things can go wrong in your body. You always feel very healthy when you take a break from processed food. But what they do is they get the meat eaters arguing with the vegans about who's right and who's wrong about what to eat. And their solution to it, how about you come together and eat some of this fake meat? How about you eat some of this cloned meat because it's more ethical? How about you have some of this chemical byproduct of whatever's been made in this factory, this chemical plant-based crap that they want to feed people instead of real food? Like, alternative milk isn't healthier for you than milk. I don't really agree with drinking milk in the first place. That's why I choose to drink coconut milk at the best of times. So at least that's actual from inside of the coconut. The coconut milk I drink has got coconut water mixed with the milky part of the coconut. It's effectively just drinking coconut water. I drink soy milk occasionally, but it's just flavors I don't mind. I'm aware that it's not exactly healthy. It's not something that I would drink every day. And it's not going to be as recognizable for you as the body fat of a cow, which is more natural than what they try and give you as an alternative. The problem that I think we're facing is that if we blindly keep walking into these things rather than collectively recognizing what is and isn't fake, all that's going to be available to us in the places that we can buy things commercially is what is fake, and what is packaged. And it has unrecognizable ingredients and is pushing something a bit more sinister. Like, as I was saying in yesterday's video, every day you're going to wake up with your dark side. Like every day that we spend in this reality of duality, there is the dark side to contend with. Being conscious of it means that you have half a chance of being able to avoid all of the obstacles that are created. If you have no awareness of it, then you're like lambs to the slaughter. You're going to be getting really ill, not understanding why. No one around you will be able to tell you why. You go to the doctors, they'll say, sorry to hear that you're experiencing these symptoms. Have you tried these drugs? And that's the world that we live in. It's trying to, not sure if that's a part of depopularization or slavery, but it's not a world that you have to be a part of. You've always got the choice. You don't need to choose to give your energy to these things or to consume these things. If enough people were conscious of the music, you wouldn't have so many people switching it on thinking it's good for everyone because it livens the place up. You'd have people looking at it going, yeah, let's look for something else to liven the place up. Or silence, we're fine with silence. We'll just be pleasant when talking to each other and enjoy the words. What's wrong with that? I do think there's good songs out there, but not in the current era of pushing music. It's all got to have a specific agenda or it's not welcome. So you get people like Sam Smith and Madonna. And Sam Smith is not a he, is he? He's a they. Sound a bit conspiratorial already. These people, they're not pushing healthy messages to children. It's very confusing for them. It plays into the whole kids being influenced into doing things in order to get acceptance from their peers, acceptance from their parents in a lot of cases, and making decisions that are very difficult to go back on. And I know that this is the same pattern that's been done since day, it's just got more extreme. So I'm at that stage now where I feel like I'm free of it because I recognize it, but I'm not entirely able to see the answer for other people to be able to recognize it. You don't recognize these things immediately. I didn't start getting into the idea that I should change my ways or what I listen to or what I consume until seeing how many names appeared on the Epstein flight logs. If any of you remember Epstein Island, a lot of the names that appeared on there, and you're like, wow, these are some of the people that I most looked up to in the past. How could they be involved in all of this stuff? And we're still waiting for the full outcome, aren't we? I mean, a lot of people have had their names removed discreetly through making deals in the background. Those fact checkers that help herd the masses into believing that there's no problem with these people. It was all rumors and conspiracies and trolling. But then you look at things that happened with Prince Andrew, things that definitely did go down. You look at when Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. There was a lot of stuff that happened on the main stage, and a lot of people saw all of this. It was part of the show. And that also feels like a social experiment. Like a few years later, can you get everybody to forget all about it just by not putting it in the mainstream anymore? People will feel like they've had that moment and gotten past it. People being conditioned to be more accepting of everyone before you get the news. People be trying to defend their favorite celebrities by saying, oh, come on, they can't help who they're attracted to. Like, yeah, still no reason for doing child abuse. This is not natural. Our natural way of being would be to protect the children. It's very clear then why it's all being flipped upside down. You got fake becomes real and real becomes fake. Because that's the only way that people in these positions are able to get away with their crimes. Actually, there's a few ways. Another is releasing the information after they die, like with Jimmy Savile. It's just too late to do anything at that point. A lot of the people that P. Diddy and others that get mentioned, the timing of it is often very curious. Like with, what was his name? Bill Cosby. He was outed just after he had made plans to buy a TV company, which would have possibly made a lot of differences to what was being pushed in the world. Give people an alternative to seeing all of this same agenda being repeated in every place. This is a very vast subject that just keeps getting bigger and bigger no matter which direction you move in. You look back in history of all of the different people. There was Pete Townsend from The who was found with loads of indecent pictures of children on his laptop, claimed he had them there for book research because he was researching where he'd been trying to write an autobiography or a book about the abuse that he'd been subjected to as a child, and for some reason needed to do research by looking at pictures of others being abused. Would imagine that he'd have seen enough of that and it would still be fresh enough in his memory that you wouldn't want to see more. But his book still isn't out. This was in the 70s. It's always been there. Like, there's always going to be people doing dodgy things with children being pushed front and center stage when it comes to this kind of industry, even if the people are actually innocent, have never done anything like this, and it's all stories. The optics is they need to be pushed front and center stage with these stories so that it will allow the public to warm to the ideas and then get to that stage where they'd be able to overlook certain things because of the popularity of the person. And that, seeing the grand scheme of everything, the amount of stuff that came out about dark things that were being done, and how easy it is to slip past your eyes. That, I think, is what helped inspire me to get away from what is fake. Looks like this is another Rumble video, eh? Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more.